But first up, he is a 9-term U.S. representative and senior member of the House Judiciary Committee, the person who's responsible for all the protesters outside. Congressman Darrell Issa is over here. Congressman, how are you, sir?
Great.
Thank you for coming back.
Oh.
Okay, so there are protesters outside, but last week we had...
Those are my people.
Those are not your people.
Well, they were always there with me.
No, last week we had... they said there were going to be many protesters for this Milo guy who was on the show, and then no one showed up because it rained. But this issue that they're upset with you about, having a town hall. Now, excuse me, but in 2009, it seems to be, when the shoe was on the other foot, the Democrats showed up at the town hall meetings and took the yelling. And it looks like you Republicans, including you, sir, are just ducking it.
Really?
Well, that's what they're upset about, that you haven't had a town hall.
Well, you know, we did have town halls in 2009. Both parties did.
That's when they liked you.
No. But, no, this is a serious question and deserves a serious answer.
I'm serious.
Town halls are, in fact, you sponsor them, you bring people in, it's open to the public. I had over 14 separate events open to the public in the last 2 weeks, including one in which several hundred people showed up at my office to protest, and I went out and met with them. Now, I did not...
Why your office? That seems like a small space for that.
No, it was outside my office. As a matter of fact, it was outside on both sides of the street for about an acre. But the reality is that there are not enough town hall meetings. We have gone to teletown hall. It definitely is something that needs to be more. But just so you know, Bill, there was no problem at all in those 90 minutes with the protesters at my office. There was no problem at all hearing their fears, particularly in two areas. We've got to get the whole question of immigration and refugees right, and we've got to figure out how to take the fear out of health care reform. And that's loud and clear.
Well, I think the question that they're asking at the few people who've actually had a real town hall, and I can't wait till the fact-checking comes in on this, but I think the question they keep asking...
Mine was broadcast on all the television stations.
Okay, all right.
Pretty easy to see.
All right, okay. I've heard different, but maybe you're right. But I think what they're saying to the Republicans there is, what is your plan? And that is an answer they just can't seem to come up with. Yep. What is your plan? They had years to come up with one. You know, Obamacare, it keeps going up in its popularity. It wasn't so popular when it was the only thing on the table. Now that they see there's nothing better, now people are warming up to it. What is better?
Well, you know, as you know, Obamacare is a term for two things. 3% of the population that are in the exchanges that are subsidized, and the expansion of Medicaid. The reality is, it's hard to unwind both of them. What we do know is the exchanges are going up horrendously fast because only sick people are in them. We've got to fix that. We do know that the Medicaid expansion is doing a lot of good. I was at a free clinic, or not a free clinic, but Vista Community Clinic this week, and they do great work. They've benefited by the expansions, things they can do, including basic dental evaluations and so on. And just unwinding it to zero cannot be our answer.
So you're not for repeal and replace. You're for fixing it.
Ultimately,
what the Democrats always say.
If my party says repeal and replace is how they're going to express it, I'm not going to disagree with them. But, but at least I got the laugh, but I didn't have to ask for it. I thought that was good.
I'd hardly call that a laugh.
That's true. But the reality is, you're right. We, in fact, had a health care problem when Bush left office. We have a health care problem in America, health access and affordability, when President Obama left office. And
much less so.
Well, many of the things...
Much less so. I mean, isn't that true?
Well, for people who are not getting a subsidy, which is more than 2/3 of America, healthcare costs as a percentage of their income has gone up. So when it comes to affordability for people who are paying the taxes and paying for their own health care directly or indirectly, it is worse. Now, that is not President Obama's fault. However, if we do not look at Canada and other countries and say, not everything they do is wrong, their health care cost half what ours cost, we've got to start looking at the cost drivers and work on it. Now, that wasn't in the Affordable Care Act.
Let's look to Canada, just like the Republicans always wanted.
No, but the fact is, around the world, probably including Sweden, there are, in fact, better ideas. You know, in
Wow.
it happens.
I know, but Republicans never say that.
No.
There are better ideas around the world. What, don't you think we're exceptional here in America?
Look,
Nobody has a better idea.
we are exceptional.
All right. Can I get on to it? We're going to run out of time without even getting on to subject 2. Can I get on to subject 2? Okay, you were head of the House Oversight Committee, right?
Yes, sir.
Where you looked into Benghazi and Fast and Furious and other
The
movies
IRS.
and the IRS. Okay, so now...
And about 2,000 others.
You're right. There was because you said Obama's one of our most corrupt presidents. Okay, so now we have this situation where it comes out this week that the Reince Priebus was talking to the FBI. He's the chief of staff.
That really is booze.
No, it's not. You wish it was after I finish this question. So anyway, all our intelligence agencies, you have great respect for them. You're a veteran, right? Okay. They all said that the Russians hacked one side, like a poker game, where just one player has the cards up. They just hacked the Democrats. And we know for a fact that people in the Trump administration had dealings and talks with the Russians during the campaign. Okay, so let's go back to 2012. Say the Russians hacked only Mitt Romney, and there's a lot of contact between the Obama administration and Russia. You'd let that slide?
No.
So you're not going to let this slide?
No.
Oh, so you're going to ask for a subpoena, like Olivia Snow did?
We're going to ask the intelligence committees of the House and Senate to investigate within the special areas they can see.
Now, we need an independent prosecutor. And Jeff Sessions should recuse himself the same way Loretta Lynch recused herself, because he was part of the Trump campaign. Is that correct? Jeff Sessions should recuse himself?
As I was saying, number 2 would be, you're right, that you cannot have somebody, a friend of mine, Jeff Sessions, who was on the campaign and who was an appointee. You're going to need to use the special prosecutor's statute and office to take, not just to recuse, you can't just give it to your deputy, that's another political appointee. You do have to do that. We're going to have to do it, and here's the reason we're going to have to do it, Bill. There may or may not be fault, but the American people who are beginning to understand that Putin murders his enemies, sometimes right in front of the Kremlin, and then suddenly the cameras don't work there. He's murdered people and taken down using cyber warfare in Georgia and in Ukraine. This is a bad guy who murders people, who runs a gas station with an economy the size of Italy, but is screwing up things all over the world that we've been doing, quote, working with. Now, we have to work with them. We don't have to trust them. And we need to investigate their activities, and we need to do it because they are bad people.
Well, that's certainly not the opinion of the Trump administration. I thank you for saying it publicly. Congressman Darrell Issa, give him credit for that answer. All right, thank you, Congressman. Let's meet our panel.